Yo, what's up, guys? It's King Sean here, and we got some undrafted free agents to talk about. The Commanders have signed about 6 undrafted free agents so far, and I'll be talking about all 6 in today's video. And we're going to start off with Sam Hartman. It was reported by, I want to say, Jordan Schultz first, that we are going to be signing Sam Hartman, and he was a guy that, I was considering taking in one of my mock drafts as a late round guy, maybe in like the 5th or 6th round, that the Commanders could take after taking their quarterback at 2. Adam Peters said himself, pretty sure during the league meeting, the annual league meeting, that he wants to go into camp into the spring with 4 to 5 quarterbacks on his roster. We already had, Jeff Driscoll, Marcus Mariota, and Jake Fromm prior to the draft. Then we drafted Jaden Daniels at 2, and then now we signed Sam Hartman. So we have 5. One guy is probably going to get cut, and it's probably going to be Jake Fromm. So he's going to be gone. It's going to be Driscoll, Marcus Mariota, Sam Hartman, and Jaden Daniels. If I had to predict that, at least I could be wrong, but if I had to predict, we're probably going to cut Jake Fromm and then keep the other 4 guys. So Sam Hartman, he's an interesting prospect. First of all, he's been in college for a very long time. I mean, he spent most of his collegiate career at Wake Forest. I remember a couple of games of Wake Forest I watched, saw him in, and he looked good here and there. Just Wake Forest asked him to throw the ball a whole lot, which kind of, brought him down a little bit, brought his, it kind of worn him down a little bit, is what I will say. But he's not a bad prospect. He's 24, okay, and he's turning 25 this July, so he's an older prospect, okay, definitely an older prospect. He is 6'1", 211 pounds. Let's see here. His combine, he ran a 4.8 40-yard dash, had a 28.5 vertical jump, 9.1 broad jump, and a 7.19 seconds 3 cone. At Notre Dame this past season, he started all 12 games for Notre Dame, by the way. Had a 63.5% completion percentage, 2,689 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. And Notre Dame was probably the best situation for him this past season because they didn't ask him to throw the ball a lot. They had Audric Estime. I'm pretty sure he went to the Broncos. He's a really good running back, but he basically carried Notre Dame on his back by running the ball. Very good running backs, one of the top running backs in college football last season. But in years before, in let's say 2022, started 12 games, all 12 games for Wake Forest, had a 63.1 completion percentage, over 3,700 yards, only 12 interceptions, as well as 38 passing touchdowns. So that's pretty good right there. So he's had some solid seasons at Wake Forest, and this past season he was pretty good at Notre Dame. Honestly, before like the 2021-2022 season, he wasn't amazing. Before the 2021 season, he was pretty average, but the 2021 season when he kind of broke out a little bit. So not bad. He was projected to go 6th or 7th round. NFL.com has him comped to Colt McCoy, which is quite funny to me, not gonna lie. But he's a good deep ball thrower. I would say he drops in a smooth, catchable deep ball over defender. That's one thing him and Jaden Daniels have in mind a bit. And he's showed the ability to help his cause with his legs during his time at Wake Forest. So if he needs to run the ball, he will. He doesn't run it a lot. He's not asked to run the ball a lot, but when he is, he will do it. Now, some of his weaknesses, his turnovers kind of piled up thanks to decision-making and overthrows, especially at Wake Forest. And he didn't throw much interceptions at all at Notre Dame this past season, but at Wake Forest, he did throw like 14 interceptions in this one season, which is a whole lot. So, got to work on his decision-making. And also, he needs to work on a bit of his footwork. He had some frantic footwork. It was noticeable on his film at Wake Forest and even Notre Dame. I'll say it improved a bit at Notre Dame, but especially on his Wake Forest film, his footwork was a bit odd, bit frantic, so that's something he needs to work on. But, he could be a solid 3rd string, maybe 4th string quarterback in the NFL. I feel like we're going to only keep probably like 3 quarterbacks on our roster when it's time to make cuts for 53-man roster, and I feel like Sam Hartman, he has a pretty good chance at making the roster. All right, so next up we got Austin Jones, running back out of USC. This is a pretty interesting signing right here. Austin Jones, he's been in college since 2019. He's been kind of the running back to Marshawn Lloyd over the past couple of years now. I think Marshawn Lloyd, I want to say he went last night, round 3. I forgot who he went to, but he's a pretty solid running back. I thought he would fall to day 3, but he did go day 2, I'm pretty sure. So he would have been an intriguing guy for the Commanders to take maybe later day 3. But he's gone, is what it is now. And Austin Jones, he's pretty solid. I mean, he hasn't put up crazy numbers, but over the past 3-4 seasons, it hasn't been bad at all. In 2020, 126 carries, 550 yards, 4.4 yards a carry, and 9 touchdowns. That's solid right there. 2021 wasn't really great. Had 107 carries for 378 yards. That's 3.5 yards per carry, only 2 touchdowns. But 2022 is when he had his best season of his collegiate career, having 135 carries for 705 yards and 5 touchdowns, 5.2 yards per carry. And then in 2023, this past season, 85 carries for 477 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, and 7 touchdowns. That's pretty good right there. Now, he was projected to go round 7 or become a UDFA, which he did, and we picked him up, and I'm not mad at it. I thought, honestly, we would draft a running back today, like round 7, maybe round 5. A guy I was looking at was like Isaac Orendo or maybe a Bucky Irving if he really fell that far. But he did go to the Bucks in round 4, which I really like that pickup for the Bucks. I think Bucky Irving and Rashad White, they're going to be a running back duo that the NFL will fear. So I like that right there. I like that pickup for the Bucks right there. But this ain't bad at all. We may pick up another running back. We'll see. He displays good recognition of run lane development. He has talent near goal line to squeeze through tight creases, and he uses consistent tempo and decisiveness on most carries. So those are some good strengths. Now he does have an undersized build and won't push piles. He's 5'9", 200 pounds, so that's short. He has the weight, but 5'9" is a little short. He has good vision though, foot quickness, and pass catching skills, which will help him compete for a roster spot. So those are good right there. Now some other weaknesses. He doesn't have the wiggle and go to be a serious threat after the catch. So, his catching skills can be improved, but he just does not have that wiggle. So he needs to improve on his wiggle, and then, he can become a more elite, a more scary pass-catching running back. So overall, I don't mind this signing of Austin Jones at all. All right, so here we have another interesting signing here in A.J. Woods. A.J. Woods has some very unique traits, has some very amazing traits that cannot be coached. He has really good burst to the ball, first of all, and top end speed. So those are 2 good things right there. He's 5'11", 195 pounds. He's from Germantown, Maryland, so he's native to the DMV area. That may be one of the reasons as to why we signed him. He has been in college since 2019. A lot of guys have been in college for a long time now, but I'm not surprised there are a lot of older prospects in this draft class. He had a total of 30 tackles this past season, 2 sacks, an interception, and 3 pass deflections. 2022 was probably his best season, though, to be honest. He had 28 tackles, 1 interception, as well as 12 pass deflections. So those are good right there. So good numbers. Like I said, his main strengths, his burst to the ball and top end speed. But some of his weaknesses, he lacks length and tackling consistency, which is probably the biggest reasons as to why, and some other reasons as well, as to why he fell out of this draft. I'm pretty sure he projected to go like round 7, maybe even round 6, but he fell out completely because some teams just had worries about his tackling. But, we decided to take a chance on him, and I'm happy we did. I mean, he has traits. Like I said, he has physically gifted traits that just cannot be, taught at all. And this is a pretty intriguing signing. I think this is one of my favorite UDFA signings so far. All right, next up, we got defensive tackle Neurop Pard out of Virginia Tech. So he decided to sign with the Commanders, probably to stay close to home. And, thinking in the back of his mind, the things he could do under Dan Quinn's defense. And, man, he can do a lot of things. First of all, I am honestly surprised this guy's an undrafted. He went undrafted. I thought he would be drafted. I thought, he would go on day 3 most likely. He was projected to be a day 3 pick. But I thought he would go like 5th round, maybe 6th round, probably maybe 7th round, but probably 5th or 6th round. But he went all the way undrafted. Now, he is 6 foot. He's 6 foot, 281 pounds, so that may be part of the reason. He's a bit smaller for your average defensive tackle. But still, man, and I'm not going to lie, these shorter defensive tackles be ballers because he is an absolute baller, in my opinion. This past season at Virginia Tech, he had 24 total tackles, 7.5 TFLs, 4 sacks. That is really good right there. In 2022, he had 3 TFLs, 1.5 sacks. The year before, 3 TFLs, 1 sack. 2020, 4.5 TFLs, 2.5 sacks. And in 2019, as a freshman, had 4 TFLs for 3 sacks. He's going to be a pretty solid pass rusher. He had a 33-inch vertical and a 9.5 broad jump. That's really good, especially for a defensive tackle. This guy may be a guy that actually makes the 53-man roster, in my opinion, because I know we signed Jerzon Newton, and he's going to get a lot of snaps this season. We have Phil Mathis. Honestly, Phil Mathis, he might not make the roster. Like, he really might not make the roster. We like John Ridgeway. He's a really good defensive tackle. You could say he's easily replaceable, but he's a great run stuffer, and that's really all he's used for, run stuffing. But he's so good at it, so he may be a guy we keep on our roster. And then obviously John Allen, Deron Payne, Jerzon Newton, they're obviously going to make the roster. And then this guy right here, Neurop Pard, he could be a guy that sneaks onto the 53-man roster, and I would not be surprised at all if Phil Mathis were to get cut. I'm not saying he will, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. So we shall see, but overall, I like the signing of Neurop Pard. Next up is a guy I did not think would fall out of the draft at all, Tyler Owens. And I know Tyler Owens, he has a good amount of flaws to his game, but his athleticism is just so unreal. He had a perfect 10 RAS score, which is insane. 41-inch vertical, 12 and 2 broad jump. That is insane itself. I mean, those are crazy numbers. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Those are insane numbers. I'm so surprised he fell out of the draft. Like, y'all can hear in my voice. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised because I know there's a lot of issues to his game, but when you look at his athleticism, when you look at his upside, I don't think you can just pass up on a guy that has this much upside to him, in my opinion. I think I had him in one of my mock drafts too. Can't really remember correctly, but he's 6'2", 216 pounds, so really good height. I mean, yeah, really good size for a free safety. 40-yard dash time was a 4.35, had a 10-yard split of 1.58, had a 4.15 shuttle time, and a 6.93 cone time. This dude is really good. Now, his really main downfall is keying in and diagnosing skills. His keying in and diagnosing skills, specifically diagnosing a play and whatnot, breaking down a play. It's pretty poor, okay? That's something he needs to get coached up. That's something he needs to get better at doing, diagnosing an actual play. And it's probably the main reason as to why a lot of teams passed up on him and he ended up falling out of the draft, which I understand. But, man, his potential is insane. Now, some people around the league have suggested that he may move to linebacker in the NFL, and he would fit. I mean, he would, if he was with us, he moves to linebacker, which he is with us. If he were to move to linebacker, I feel like Dan Quinn and Joe Whitt Jr., he'd be able to do wonders with him at linebacker. So we'll see what happens, but he has a lot of potential. But this safety room is crowded. I mean, we drafted Dominique Hampton earlier today, and then we already got, Jeremy Chin, Quan Martin, Derek Forrest, Jeremy Reeves. So we got a lot of guys in here. So we'll see how, we manage the safety room, but I really like this pickup in Tyler Owens. So that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be updating you guys on the rest of the UDFA sightings tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.